You're listening to a special interview segment for the official podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com.
Okay, folks, joining us on the show this week from Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, the one and only Ruthless, Ryan Davidson. Mr. Davidson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Every single time somebody says Ruthless Ryan Davidson, there's like a little tingle that goes through my body because, it's just, it sounds so damn good. And, yeah, you can say it one more time if you feel like it.
Ruthless Ryan Davidson.
That's what I'm talking about.
There you go. So welcome to the show. We certainly do appreciate you coming on. Getting ready for Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, going to be taking place this Saturday, 16511 Diana Lane in Houston, Texas. It's going to be the second pay-per-view that's going to be available for the fans.
That's right. The second pay-per-view, of course, exclusively on feed.com, for $2.99 a month. You can go ahead and check out exclusive matches, not just the pay-per-view, but definitely some classics from the years past of, all the past, present, Booker T, PWA stars, Booker T, RW stars, and of course, rare matches that you see, top names in the business. I'm talking matches of, Bobby Lashley, CM Punk, Booker T, of course, himself, the Dudley Boys, Jay Lethal, MVP, you name it. Just about anybody, the who's who, has definitely been come and go through Booker T's organization, man. So it's definitely worth the $2.99, I promise you.
Very nice. But getting ready for this Saturday, the scheduled matches, you will be taking on American Eagle in a last man standing match.
I really feel like, this is what has to happen. This guy, American Eagle, let's not, beat around the bush. The guy's talented. The people love him. That's great. I, on the other hand, am the exact opposite. I hate him. I can't stand him. He acts like a giant bird. I don't get it. It is what it is. He's got lucky in the past and what have you, first of all, if my shoulders get bent to the mat, it's a rare occurrence, and it comes with a price. So the way I look at it is that, when I won my match to create the stipulation for the pay-per-view, I really had no choice. I figured that the last man standing match was the best stipulation to make an example out of the American Eagle. And I know May 11th it will be no different, man. So if anybody's in that area, Clear Lake, Diana Lane, May 11th, bell time I believe is 7:30. Get on down there, man, because if you're not there, you're missing out. Period. And of course, v.com. If you can't be there in person, $2.99. Just pay up. It's worth it.
So a bear always beats an eagle, right?
A bear not just beats an eagle; he eats an eagle, and that's exactly. I'm just gonna rip his wings off, deep fry him, because bears love deep fried food, and we'll just go ahead and just devour the eagle as fast as possible. Because don't get me wrong, the kid's talented. We're going to see how tough he is. Because the one thing that's never been done in Booker T's organization, whether it was PWA or ROW, there's never been a last man standing match.
Very cool.
And this is going to be the absolute first one, and I'm definitely going to set the bar for anybody else that has the cojones to try and go ahead and step into that demographic of a wrestling match as far as the last man standing, because it's definitely anything goes. There's no limits whatsoever, and I'm excited just talking about it. To be honest with you, I just can't wait. So,
very cool stuff. Certainly looking forward to that one. Also scheduled matches. Adrian Cristiano, Gustavo Mendoza, and Sergey Volkov will go up against TJ Lewis, Brian Keys, and special guest Mysterious Q.
With this match, besides, of course, obviously, my match, this is another one that I'm extremely excited for numerous reasons. One, ticket purchase is definitely worth the hard-earned dollar when it comes to Gustavo Mendoza, Adrian Cristiano, and Sergey Volkov, because in my opinion, they're, besides myself, one of the three most talented guys on that roster. And they definitely get their point across each and every show. But, another reason, and we've had our disputes in the past and what have you, but it's nothing but pure respect. Mysterious Q. If nobody's seen this guy in person, it's that alone is worth the ticket price. This guy's incredible. He is a quality athlete, man. The guy can do anything. He can be anything. And he's definitely worth the watch. So I'm definitely excited to see that match for sure.
Absolutely. And the main event is going to be a winner of a 15-man battle royale going up against current ROW champion, the Hammer, Jasper Davis.
The hammer. Yeah, he's more like the plunger. I always call him the plunger. I don't call him the hammer. So, a hammer, you got to be hard, you got to be tough, and all that jazz. And, he's the plunger because, quite frankly, all he does is suck up a bunch of crap and make sure it flows pretty well. So, that's my opinion. But, other than that, he's the heavyweight champion for a reason. I always give Jasper Davis a hard time. So, it is what it is, but it's definitely worth the watch as well. The whole show from A to Z, it doesn't matter if it's opening match or definitely the main event. Every show is worth watching. It's we did a real good job at Christmas Chaos back in December. We definitely had some very high quality matches on that card. It will be no different on May 11th, and in my opinion, it's actually going to be a better show than the one we had in December by far.
Absolutely, certainly looking forward to that one.
Yeah, definitely.
If we could go back a little bit to the beginning of your career, I know, like, in this infamous online video that I saw about you and some stuff that happened backstage at the WWE, you mentioned how you broke in Amarillo. So are you originally from Amarillo?
Be honest with you, and I'm going to clarify this because I kid you not, Adrian Jones is one of the announcers for Booker T ROW, and I love the guy to death, but I am like 2 comments away from knocking all his teeth out. I am not from Oklahoma. I can't stand Oklahoma. I hate the Sooners. I hate everything about Oklahoma. And I'm from Houston, Texas, born and raised. And I made my break in Amarillo. I got through playing college football at West Texas A&M University. Make a long story short, met with a guy that I had a class with. Always been a wrestling fan. Always been a huge, almost an obsessive wrestling fan ever since I was about 12 years old. And had a guy in one of my college classes, and he dropped a wrestling reference. I dropped one right back. He told me about an organization in Amarillo, and the rest is history. Definitely started at the bottom of the barrel. If you don't know what the bottom of the barrel is in the wrestling business, I broke into a wrestling ring that was on a outdoor go-kart track off the side of the freeway in Amarillo, Texas.
Wow.
That is how bottom of the barrel you can get in the wrestling business, and that's where I broke in. But I loved it. From the moment I've stepped foot, of course, in an actual wrestling ring, I could not describe the feeling. I know it sounds cheesy and cliche and blah, 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 whatever, but it's honesty, and I definitely don't take this business for granted. I definitely don't take wrestling or anything in general for granted. I soak everything up as much as I possibly can because you never know. One day, you'll be doing a match like you've been doing, and the next day it could be gone. So that's always one thing I keep reminding myself. But other than that, yeah, Amarillo, Texas, broke in there, traveled around the country, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Florida, Ohio, Colorado, Illinois, just to name a few. Made my traveling around the country and what have you, and trying to soak up and gain as much knowledge as possible.
Any of the old time guys from the territory days of Amarillo are hanging around when you got your start, or?
Well, not exactly when I got my start. Of course, when I was about a year and a half in, I met a few Amarillo legends. Of course, I'll never forget the first time that I've met the one and only Terry Funk at a McDonald's in Canyon, Texas.
Nice.
And it was very interesting because, to be honest with you, before I can say anything to him, he came up to me and goes, "You play football, don't you?" And I was, "You wrestle, don't you?" It was a very funny moment. Of course, I later did a show with Terry Funk and got one of the biggest compliments I could in my wrestling career. I had a cage match that night against one of my favorite opponents of my career is a guy by the name of Tyler Bateman. He actually wrestles out in Southern California right now. We had a cage match, and Terry Funk came up to me, and he said, and I'll never forget it, he said, in all my years of wrestling, that's one of the best cage matches I've ever seen.
Nice.
And coming from a guy like him, especially a cage match, when you're about 2-3 years in, for him to say something like that, I didn't really know how to take it. So, but that's definitely something I won't forget, and I definitely appreciate. But as far as the old timers in the business, the legends and what have you, I've met a few, including the one and only Dennis Stamp. If anybody knows who Dennis Stamp is,
was he booked was he booked, or it was a coincidence?
Was he booked? No, he was not. But it just I've met the guy personally, and think he's a nice guy, what have you, and and it was quite an experience because it was funny because I just probably about a month beforehand I watched Beyond the Mat for the first time. Then I met the guy, and
I feel so terrible seeing that.
I'm sorry?
You just feel so terrible, like seeing him on Beyond the Mat when he's like, I'm not booked.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I kind of wanted to ask him a few questions about the trampoline training, like that he pretty much likes to get ready for, what have you, see if I can, use that in my regiment. But I was just like, yeah, maybe next time. So it is what it is.
Very cool. So you've definitely made your rounds on the independent circuit. We've seen you numerous times at Booker T's show, as well as here in Gulf Coast, now Hurricane Pro.
TSW.
Hurricane Pro.
Yeah.
Thank God for that. Oh, my God. Maybe so many initials that I can't even believe it. It was like GCPPW/RWKXW/professional wrestling.
Well, now they've shortened it up a little bit.
You know what? To be honest with you, I've wrestled in almost every organization in Texas. More than one occasion, and I got to say, besides Booker T's, Hurricane Pro, or formerly known as Gulf Coast Power Pro Wrestling, is definitely one of my favorite organizations. It's a great locker room, great environment, and what have you. And I definitely enjoy doing the shows, and definitely enjoy being a part of that company.
And you certainly, know how to work a crowd. That's for sure, because you have this, distinct ability to go into any room and have the entire crowd. Like, most people who portray the heel can get some people booing them and hating them, and then there's always those smart people who are like, oh, I'm going to cheer him because he's the bad guy. No, you get every single person in that building to hate you.
So natural.
Right. Well, like I said, being a douchebag, it's years and years of experience to perfect the art. So, it is what it is. But I definitely appreciate the compliment. The one thing that I believe the wrestling fan should always experience at every wrestling show is that they should be a part of every match as much as possible. And that's definitely a goal of mine. I don't, of course, focusing on the match and focusing on, of course, winning the match, because that's what it's all about, is always number one. But then again, you got to give the fans their money's worth. You really, really do. And if they don't show up, then you don't wrestle, because, that's just basically how it is. So I like to incorporate every single person in that crowd into my match as much as possible. Sometimes too much. And then I get yelled at by Booker T, and then there you go. So, but it is what it is. But other than that, man, the only thing that I try to do each and every night is just make sure that people remember who I am. People be entertained by my match, whether they love me or hate me, and everything's all hunky-dory.
Let me get your take on this, because I'm a guy who feels like the face and heel dynamics are like extremely important in wrestling. Like almost like you have to have face heel dynamics, and there just seems like there's a new breed of fan who like wants to holler like shades of gray, and they kind of like their baby faces doing like smarmy stuff, and they kind of like them kind of acting like bullies sometimes, and like they just holler like shades of gray because that's the real world. And like I maintain the opinion that like I want my baby faces like good guys, like I want my heels to be the bad guys. I think it's very important. What's your take on all that, and the kind of new breed of fan who wants it a little muddier than maybe traditionally?
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. Wrestling always evolves. And when wrestling evolves, so do the fans. And the fans' perception and the fans' decision, of course, to cheer for who they want to cheer and boo who they want to boo. And, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. If you want to cheer for your baby faces and you want them to do things that you would like to see them to do, and, of course, your heels, you want to boo them, because they're doing things that you do not want them to do. And it gets on your nerves and it gets under your skin, and that's really that's the whole art of it right there. But as far as a heel, from my perspective, or what have you, when you're getting somebody to hate you, when you're getting somebody to dislike you, first of all, it's the easiest thing to do. It doesn't take much to try and get under somebody's skin. Whether it's just giving them a smirk look or, blowing kisses at them, and they don't like that, whatever. That's always funny to me, because I just like to see a reaction like that. But, other than that, it just, being a heel, it's just one thing and one thing only. You have to do whatever it takes to make sure that a fan does not like you. And if that means you have to be kind of bland and be kind of boring, oh well. At least you're getting the job done, because the job done is, there's a lot of guys that are heels that want to go in there and they want to do the cool moves. They want to do, I got to get this in, and a backbreaker and a power bomb to the head or whatever, anything like that. To me, that's not your job. Your job is to get booed. Your job is to be hated. the babyface's job, of course, is to get cheered. And a lot of guys actually misconstrue that. They really don't let that soak into their brain. And, to me, that's what separates you from being, just an average Joe on an indie show to a guy that has the potential to make it to the big leagues. You know what I mean? And that's the way I take it.
Very cool. And speaking of the big leagues, you've actually made a few appearances on Raw, not necessarily as a highlight of the show, but you have made a few appearances on there. You've been security guard a time or two. We happen to notice that.
I have.
Take us through your experience. They say they give you a call, you head up there. Take us through the time you walk into the building.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, an experience that is a complete understatement as far as being a part of a WWE program. It's a wonderful, wonderful time. It's pretty nerve-wracking, but also exciting also at the same time. And, it's definitely a privilege. One thing that, you never want to forget as far as being a part of that environment, part of, that locker room or what have you always want to make it sure in a confident way, not an arrogant way. You need to feel like that you belong. A lot of guys, when they get back there, it's an intimidating environment. I mean, you get guys that, I'm about 6'3", 260 pounds, and there's guys that make me look like a kid. Yeah. Walking around, just
Yeah.
I mean, they could eat me if they wanted to, So it's a very intimidating thing. But like I said, you have to have some confidence in yourself to realize that hey, you're here for a reason. When they call you, they know that you're worth checking out. You are worth being paid attention to, and that's definitely more than what it could be. And it's definitely a great experience, man. And one thing is, a lot of guys don't like to admit this being in the wrestling business, but I will always and forever be a fan, and it's a very surreal moment to where, you walk in the back and you see guys that you grew up watching, and you actually get to meet them, let alone even better, you get to get in the ring with them. Like, I'll never forget the time I got to get in the ring with Arn Anderson, Dean Malenko, guys like that, and you're just sitting there going, wow, I'm actually rolling around with the Iceman. This is pretty insane, and it sounds cheesy, but I mean, it's surreal, and it's definitely a great feeling, but of course, you got to keep it professional. It's a wonderful experience, and I have a great time each and every time that I go. And in fact, the last time I was there, I got to punch Sheamus in the head, and that was awesome.
Very cool. So
I've also seen you get pie-faced by Kevin Nash there. How was that?
You know what? Yeah, I it wasn't just pie-faced by Kevin Nash. I met him in the back, and he went ahead and before I could introduce myself, he goes, "Oh, Little Big Show, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to punch you." Because if I had $1 for every single time somebody says that I've looked like the Big Show coming up in my career, I probably would have bought the WWE from Vince McMahon. How wealthy I would have been. So I don't see it, but apparently a lot of people do. That's cool. It ain't no big deal. I'm over it. But, pie face by Kevin Nash. Oh, Lord. Numerous different things. I've actually had, I wouldn't say a dark match, but I did actually get to have a full-length match with one Alex Riley in front of the entire WWE locker room, which was pretty nerve-wracking to say the least, but it turned out to be a pretty good match and what have you. And, Alex Riley, I mean, I know he's not seen a lot on WWE television lately, but the guy is definitely talented, that's for sure. So that was a good experience. And, of course, numerous different experiences, getting in with guys that, like I say, you see on TV on a daily basis, and you learn a lot, and that's basically the best thing about being a part of the, WWE show and what have you. It is, it's like going to school. You just try and soak up as much knowledge and pointers and what have you as you can. And at the same time, it's like a job interview because you never know. They could see something in you that they could be like, well, would you like to move to Tampa in 2 weeks? Yes, I would.
Let me just go ahead and pack up. I went ahead and packed all my stuff in my car so I can just drive there today.
Exactly. Not a problem.
And we have heard a story regarding you being, working with some of the WWE guys, before a show and stuff like that. It was from a few years ago, and, I feel compelled to ask, what's the International?
the international spot that is ridiculous. It is asinine, but you know what? It is buried in my brain forever. That is a very good, funny story. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that was definitely an experience, to say the least, and it's actually a funny one. I don't know. I guess I'm compelled to tell this story on the radio show, and I guess I will. So Bill DeMott, I don't know if you guys know who Bill DeMott is, obviously. Hugh Morris, WCW, what have you. You guys know about him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill DeMott, gotcha. Anyways, so, of course, SmackDown, it was in Dallas, Texas, I believe 2010 or 2011, I believe. I don't know. It's one of those years. Anyways, went ahead and got the privilege to get in the ring with Bill DeMott, and he wanted to see a few different scenarios and a few different situations in the ring that we'd go over with, what have you. And I was actually in the ring with one Gustavo Mendoza, who is one of my favorite opponents and guys to be around with in the wrestling business. The guy has a wrestling mind like nobody's. He thinks of things that nobody else thinks of. I mean, he is phenomenal at what he does. Anyways, so we're in the ring. We are wrestling competitively back and forth, and Bill DeMott likes what he sees, and everything's great. And then, of course, he asks the infamous question, or not a question, but he makes the infamous statement, do the international. For the life of me, I had no idea what that was, because the first thing that came to mind was like, what, House of Pancakes? Like, what is this guy talking about? National? I don't, the hell is that? And the whole time Gustavo was trying to, under his breath, it's and I can't hear a word he's saying. And I'm like, what? And that's all it took for Bill DeMott to it was like a shark smelling blood in the water. It was just, oh my God, do you not know? And to be honest with you, it's a spot that has been done numerous. It's one of those, early spots you learn as a rookie, and I've done this spot a gazillion times, but I never heard it be called the international. It was always called the universal or the dummy spot or what have you. And actually, when he asked me if I knew what that spot was, I go, oh, the dummy spot. He goes, the dummy spot. So it's like, well, here, let me just keep burying this hole. Obviously, you're not going to like me at all, and that's fine. So pretty much after about a good 5-6 minute verbal bashing from Bill DeMott, which is fine, that doesn't really bother me all that much at all. It's just one of those things that, in the wrestling business, whether you like it or not, or whether you realize it or not, you're always tested. And attitude is everything in the wrestling business. And if you have a bad attitude, it shows. If you have a great attitude, it shows. And great attitude will go a long way. So, fortunately enough for me, I had a great attitude and took it like a champ. But the funny thing was about it is that after the whole nightmare was over with pretty much, and I just pretty much got verbally bashed in front of everybody in the WWE locker room, he pretty much pulled me to the side later on in the night, and to make a long story short, all it was very complimentary and told me how not a lot of guys would have taken the verbal bashing like I did. And to be honest with you, every single time he sees me, he says, hey, Ryan, how you doing, type thing, and it's nothing but smiles and a good time. So it is what it is. But don't get me wrong, each time I have a wrestling match and I don't feel like doing the international, I don't call it the international anymore. I call it the DeMott spot, and will never forget it. In fact, sometimes I scream DeMott while I do it. So just happen at the next show, if you hear me say DeMott, you should know what's coming.
Nice. Very cool stuff. So, yeah. Going back into wrestling itself, you portraying the heel, working the indie shows and stuff like that. What's like the rowdiest crowd you've been in with? Because you get on the mic and you'll say just about whatever it takes to get the crowd, in a frenzy. I mean, even resorting to telling them to go fist themselves.
Yeah, yeah. The rowdiest crowd. I mean, there's been hundreds and hundreds of crowds that have that have been extremely rowdy, especially in the state of Texas. A lot of guys are wondering as far as the indie level or what have you, as far as what level Texas wrestling's on. It's definitely on one of the highest as far as around the country. And that definitely goes with the fans, because the fans are definitely rowdy and they want to be entertained. But I'll tell you what, the most rowdy crowd that you can actually compete in front of is anybody that is in any kind of similarity with the military. If you wrestle around a bunch of soldiers, they're the most fun to poke fun at and what have you. And I have had the best time. One show in particular that I can think of was, let's see here. Oh yeah, it was, I believe it was, what was this show called? Texas All-Star. We were in Nacogdoches. I think it was called Rumble Mania or something like that, or what have you. I don't know. It was back, I believe, about a year or two ago. I was wrestled Rockstar Rowdy in a singles match, and I got on the mic and was pretty much ripping the crowd into shreds and all the kids and what have you, to the point that they were throwing batteries at me. And that was pretty interesting because I already got hit with a battery before, So I was just like, all right, well, you guys could F off. So right on. But I'll never forget that Rockstar Rowdy was building momentum in the match. He goes to hit the ropes. I give him a very, very sadistic spine buster, which completely derailed his momentum. And as I stood up to pretty much circle around the ring to get a reaction from the crowd, I'll never forget it. There was a woman, an old lady, that pretty much looked like she could have been Skeletor's mother. She was pushing 180 for sure. She had a cane in her left hand, and I just looked at her. I just stared at her, and she literally struggles and has every ounce of energy that she could possibly muster up to get up out of her chair. She even puts her other hand on the gentleman that was sitting next to her shoulder to make sure that she could stand up, and with all her might, she just lifted her right arm and gave me the middle finger that I will never forget.
That's awesome.
Entire life. And let me tell you something, that is completely worth it. To have little old Ethel tell you to F off, and it's great.
Yes.
So, definitely rowdy crowds are really, really fun to work. Military people are definitely fun to work. They're passionate. They're having their arm in arm. All they want to do is be entertained just like anybody else, and it's a good time.
Very cool. Well, we certainly do appreciate you coming on. Best of luck to you in your match against American Eagle. Again, it's going to be Booker T's Reality of Wrestling this Saturday, 16511 Diana Lane in Houston, Texas. You can go to feed.com/Booker T for more info on that. Ruthless Ryan.
Well, before we let you go, please feel free to plug anything you want to plug, like Twitter, Facebook, anything like that.
Yeah, well, let's see here. Twitter. My Twitter is at the letter RD Bear 57. 57, of course, is my college football number. Ruthless Ryan Davidson. Of course, I'm a Bear. That's pretty much what it is.
Big bad bear.
If you get on the Twitter, hit me up, what have you. The more people that hit me up, the more that I will use it, because I'll be honest with you, I should be using my Twitter a lot more. And I'm trying to grasp that fact as much as possible. But other than that, you can hit me up on Twitter, of course, on Facebook. Of course, if anybody's friends with Rockstar Rowdy or any other members of the roster from Booker T's ROW or Texas All-Star Wrestling or Jared Steele's PWA or, of course, now Hurricane Pro, they can go ahead and add me on Facebook. And, like I said, feed.com. If anybody wants to check out some very rare, good quality matches from, like I said, the who's who of wrestling, of course, with Booker T ROW superstars, and guys that you see on TV every single week that actually compete against guys like us, it's definitely worth the $2.99 more than anything. To be honest with you, we should be charging $9.99 because these matches are great. It's no BS about it, man. It's definitely worth it. So you can definitely check that out. And May 11th, Booker T's ROW. Mayday Melee, Ryan Davidson versus American Eagle, last man standing match, first one ever. So if you definitely can't make it out in person, definitely check out feed.com.
Very cool. Ruthless Ryan Davidson, has certainly been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, and we'll check you later.
Appreciate it, guys. Y'all don't work too hard, man. Y'all stay safe. I appreciate the time. Thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Ryan.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.